So, this is one of your favorite movies, right?
This is one of my favorite horror movies that no one else I've talked to in life have seen unless I showed it to them. The internet says it's a cult classic, but like I ran into people who liked other cult classics, but this is one of the ones that seemed to be unique to my growing up experience. There was back in the days of renting videos, there was a VHS clamshell at our local video store that had this movie. Apparently, it's gone through several titles. What you might know it as is Deadly Spawn.
Oh, it had other titles?
What I picked it up as was They Came to Earth to Eat Human Flesh.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what was on the big clamshell. And I loved, like, corny, low-budget puppet horror movies. Like, my first, like, Gremlins and Critters and all that was my jam. So I got this box, and it did not disappoint. This has some wet puppets. Mm-hmm. And considering that, like, I've looked it up since then, and considering the budget they had, they did an amazing job with the monster effects. You can definitely see the budget they had, though, with, like, the sets and actors all being kind of the same. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a certain level of stuff. There's a lot of people's grandmas in this movie. I'll just say that.
A lot of people's grandmas.
A lot of people's grandmas did a guest spot in this movie. There's a whole, like, subplot that happens just to fill 20 minutes where grandmas are having, like, a vegan dish and then get attacked by the worms. But also, this movie seems to have inspired a lot, because this was 1983. Yeah. So this was pre-Critters, about aliens who crash to Earth and just want to eat everything.
Yeah.
You can also see, in especially the alien design, little things that pop up like Slither.
Yeah, absolutely, Slither.
Slither absolutely seems to have been inspired somewhat by Deadly Spawn. But yeah, growing up, like, I couldn't talk to this movie about anyone growing up. This is like not pre-internet, but so early in the days of the internet that like right. I couldn't talk to anyone about this movie. So when I described it, it's just a fever dream about a three-mouthed worm in the basement, and there's a kid who's obsessed with horror movies who's stuck down there with it while some teenagers are going through some drama upstairs, and these little spawn worms are just escaping the basement and eating everything in a 5-mile radius. Mm-hmm. It sounds so insane.
and this that you drew is the one that was in the basement. Yeah,
this is like the mother spawn or whatever it is, because this one is the only one that has multiple mouths and like fingers. Mm-hmm. There's some littler ones that have like indications that they'll grow arms, but this is like the tri-headed one.
And there's one at the end.
That's the entire mountain.
Yeah.
Because at the end, they do this thing where like they go through the entire movie, and then at the end they call in, like, the National Guard to take care of it, and they're hunting all the remaining worms in the countryside. And they reveal through radio conversations that apparently the things just keep growing as long as they're eating. And then the way the movie ends is the ground shakes under one of the guys hunting these things, and the mountain behind the house rises up into a giant spawn mouth.
I always wonder why titles change. Like, Baltneck was I Was Teenage Frankenstein.
Well, part of it, so I originally, because of the version I got had, like, either Canadian or European, like, title track stuff. Mm-hmm. So apparently that was part of it. They also apparently last minute renamed it for drive-ins to try and, because Alien was big.
Oh.
So they renamed it to, like, the Aliens Deadly Spawn. And changed the art to make it look more like a xenomorph.
That's cheating.
No, very much. But, like, yeah, they had to get back their budget somehow. And, like, it's you know, not any cornier than what Roger Corman did.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And this is part of it. They have a lot of teeth. And the teeth are set up, like, in a way that makes sense, but also, like, very random.
Yeah. No, the teeth are horrible.
Yeah, the teeth are great. And that's all, like, all the worms have, like, this disastrous, just, like, collection of teeth.
It does remind me of, if you've ever seen an x-ray of an infant's skull.
Just all the teeth floating around?
Yeah, the teeth just will come down eventually. They'll come down hopefully where you want them to, or they won't.
They come down wherever they can.
Yeah. This looks like one of those situations.
Yeah.
Ugh. Just a kissable mouth.
So and they're so like fleshy and wet.
Mm-hmm.
And like it, for what they did a lot of stuff that like showed up in other movies. Like we talked about, they had that shot in Jurassic Park where like Samuel L. Jackson's character's like missing, and his arm flops down on someone's shoulders, and they're like, "Oh, thank God, it's you." They turn around, it's just a detached arm.
Yeah.
Deadly Spawn did it first. Deadly Flesh. Deadly Spawn did it first. They did that shot with the kid in the one of the kids in the basement gets like his arm falls down. It's just like, oh, it's you. Turns around, the arm's just in the mouth of the creature.
Yeah. It's a good joke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's supposed to be funny, but it's a good joke. Like, Evil Dead 2 had it as well, of just this, who's holding my hand then? And then you look and it's a severed hand.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a classic joke.
Yeah. And there's, they also did the classic thing where the kid figures out the monster first.
Right.
Because everyone else, like, for a while, it's just a parade of people coming up with an excuse to go into the basement to get eaten. Because that's what the movie was there's a monster in the basement. So, like, it's raining, so the dad goes down in the basement to check something, gets eaten. The mom goes looking for the dad, goes in the basement and gets eaten, and she just happens to have left a note saying that they went away for the day. So, no one's looking for them. And then an electrician shows up and goes in the basement and gets eaten.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid figures out that if he stays quiet, the creatures don't hunt him.
No eyeballs.
Yeah.
But, the kid definitely sees his mom at one point.
Yeah, they do this whole thing where he has to stay quiet, and his mom's head is being just eaten by the little worms, and they're dragging away pieces of her face.
That was visceral.
Yeah.
That whole scene was just like, that would have given me nightmares as a kid. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's horrifying. They don't do too much, like, you really have to pay attention to figure out, like, how people are related to each other, because they don't spend a lot of time on the people. Which is fine.
That's not why people are here.
That's not why people are here.
Yeah.
But to really figure out, like, who's who and why they're there, you really have to pay attention to some of the dialogue. Which is not easy, because the dialogue is mixed super low. Apparently it was all shot on, like, the same 16 millimeter. I don't think they put any, like, ADR in or anything. It's just, it is what it is.
I mean, it looked like it had been shot on a potato.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, typically stuff like this, like with Evil Dead, they shot it, and a lot of those people went on to, like, do other things, like screenwriters and stuff like that. Deadly Spawn, I think there's, like, one guy who went on to, like, be, like, an acting coach, and everyone else just drops out of movies completely.
They did this one thing for their one friend, their cousin, whoever. They
did this one big project in Jersey. It was, I can't say it was like a hit, but like given its, like, there's websites dedicated to it now. Like, you'd think it would have recouped its tiny little budget. But everyone, there's no one, if you look on IMDb, no one has any other credits really. Maybe like a TV movie here or something else there.
Interesting too what gets called a cult classic, because some cult classics are so mainstream at this point you wouldn't necessarily think of them as cult classic.
Yeah.
And then others are like, well, of course, once you've seen it then you're in the know, but otherwise you're not. You need someone to tell you it exists. And I feel like this is on that side of what a cult classic is.
Yeah, you have to be like, oh, if you know the references in modern movies, you can find them, but they're not explained. No one's, like, it's not in the background of other movies where people can go like, oh, what was that movie that was playing in the background of the new whatever?
Right.
Like, it's not up there. So that one's always like a Frankenstein or something. Like,
yeah, something.
An actual classic.
Yeah. This is different. I like that you gave it a little foot.
No, that's part of it. It's got a little foot.
A little leggy.
Yeah. I was trying to be accurate to the thing, but also, like, do it in my style. And actually worked really well.
It's just doing a little step.
Yeah.
Oh, God. You ever see... Little Shop of Horrors, if you ever have a chance to see the stage production, at least the one that I saw when I was a child, at one point, Audrey comes down the aisle. Like, with all the at that point, multiple mouths.
Yeah.
can they have human faces on them, and it's horrifying. And she comes at comes at you while singing down the aisle, and that's what this reminds me of. Just the happy, like, I won, the world is over now.
Yeah.
So that's Deadly Spawn.
Deadly Spawn, or the aliens' Deadly Spawn, or they came to Earth to eat human flesh. There's the final. I forgot to record the background part, but there it is, with the blood splatters, and there's it is raining, so there's a lot of water in the basement. So, ta-da!
Oh, blood splatters. I thought that they were the little wormy guys.
No, those are the blood splatters, because one of them's on the light bulb. They do this. They do the red lighting thing with it.
Oh, like in Evil Dead.
Yeah. Oh, they also. I'm going to talk about one of the death scenes. So they do this thing. The main part of the main family has a teenager and a little kid. The little kid's into horror movies. The teenager's like really into science, and the science kid's like best friend and Smurfette basically come over. And over the course of the movie,
Oh, yeah.
he admits that he likes Smurfette. It does not end well for her, because then in a very emotional scene where this thing comes upstairs, it decapitates her and then defenestrates her.
Just chuck out the window.
It bites off her head, and then her body goes flying out a window. You don't see how it would have
It just
gone
gets
flying out the
projected.
window. Apparently, maybe the head was removed with such force.
And would you recommend this movie?
For a certain type of person. If you like cheap horror movies that are done with a lot of passion, it's great. If you like special effects, it's great. If you need like something to be constantly happening, you will be bored to tears. There is a lot of people like sitting around waiting for the monsters to come.
Fair enough. Rock on.
Rock on. Go watch Deadly Spawn. Or don't.
We're not your mom.